Yo, 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 yo. What is up? No. How is it going? How is it? So I realized I haven't done a colors quest in the longest time. So why don't we see what's the prompt that we have to do next? 'Cause I know we were only like maybe 3 or 4 away from finishing it. We should probably get done with that. Oh, I remember that drawing. Hey, yeah! I got first. Got gold. Hell yeah! Nice. I've been getting the golds recently. Excited pet expanding before finally reaching your destination. No color picker. Oh yeah, that sounds simple enough. Let's see. Let's see. Excited pet. A companion. I'm just gonna type in something. There we go. Whoa, these are actually pretty cool. Holy shit. Oh my god. It's just a phone, okay. Very, very realistic looking rock. Now, this is a cool image. I think I'm gonna use this as a reference. Holy cow. Oh yeah! Before I forget, I'm gonna put on Billiam. Fuck. Lost. There we go. 6-hour-long Lost video.
John, I'm not.
John, that video wasn't even funny. I hated that movie.
In this episode's flashback, John meets a woman at a support group named Helen, who tries to love him, but John's obsession with his abusive father makes it hard for her. She can't stand to watch John hurt himself, so she gives him an ultimatum. Stop trying to connect with your lousy dad who constantly rejects you and be with me. Instead, Helen tells John to take a leap of faith with her so they don't have to go through life alone, but together. He agrees to stop seeing his father and to be with her. Now on the other side of the island, again, Jin, Sawyer, and Michael have all been captured and they're joined in a pit by Ana Lucia, who attentive viewers would recognize from the finale of season 1 as another passenger of Oceanic Flight 815. She claims to be from the tail section of the plane, which broke off during the flight before it crashed. The group is a little hesitant to believe that Sawyer, Jin, and Michael were actually on the plane because they've had some violent interactions with the others who claimed to be a part of the flight as well. But eventually they're able to weed out the truth. Desmond's real scared because the countdown's reaching 0. He tries to leave, but Jack runs after him. There's no way he's gonna let this guy leave. He's having a major crisis, and he needs to be in control.
15.
Shut up!
Some man takes you down there, shows you a movie, and you push a button on faith alone. Nothing is going to happen.
Jack needs to be right about this. He tells Desmond nothing's gonna happen if he doesn't push the button. But uh-oh, Desmond recognized him. Dude, Jack's on the edge of his seat. Be careful with what you say.
Let go. It doesn't matter.
What happened to her?
It doesn't matter.
How can you say it doesn't?
I married her!
You're not married to her anymore then?
That's so fucking good. Damn, Jack may be the one with the gun, but Desmond just killed him. Desmond walks off, never to be seen again, and Jack just lets him because he's so embarrassed. John's about to enter the sequence of numbers but can't remember it because he's an old geezer. Hurley's relieved, but Jack's like, that's not the right number. He just told me the right number. Push your button, John. See ya. But John, he doesn't want to push the button alone. He tells Jack to take a leap of faith with him because he doesn't want to do this alone. He needs a partner, a guy. Jack needs a guy too. They just can't talk it out. Jack's like, nothing's gonna happen if we don't push the button. And John's like, I want you to push it for me. And Jack's like, all right, but nothing's gonna happen. He pushes it, which reveals the conflicting debate Jack is kind of having within himself about the island. Maybe that billowing column of black smoke that dragged John down the hole was out of the ordinary. And of course, this internal conflict ends up resulting in their tenuous relationship. And then in the next episode, the tail survivors alongside Michael, Jin, and Sawyer all decide to walk back to join up with the main beach camp. That's the plotline of season 2. To really understand and truly appreciate Lost, I think you really have to dive into a lot of the fanfare surrounding the show at the time and how it shaped TV and pop culture then through now.
Talked me into pushing that button once, John, but it's yours now. You're the one who won't risk it. You. Me? I don't think anything's gonna happen when we get down to 0. Jack, you wanna see what's gonna happen? Let's just see what's gonna happen.
Ooh, them there fighting words. And Matthew Fox, great to have you with us this morning. And you're...
Thanks for having me.
How long you been up already?
All of about 6 minutes.
6 minutes, a little cap.
Look at him. That's Jack. They're trying to make him sexy. They're doing their darn best to make Jack sexy. This is GQ. He's the cover guy of GQ.
Very hard to make you look at the sand.
Yeah.
Kind
Hello,
of on your
land
face.
boy.
Yeah,
How's it
it's,
going?
But you and Josh Holloway, who plays Sawyer, you guys are like all shucks about the hunk label being attached to you. Are you
We're
like
just
that too?
watching
Dad
a
said you have what it
6-hour
takes.
long
Yeah, I mean, it's
Lost
I know the whole
retrospective
thing.
from
I don't know.
William.
I'll leave that
while
Josh,
I
you know, Josh is
do
pretty hunky,
this
I guess.
colors
I don't know. I
challenge
just,
Boy,
thing.
Josh Holloway oozes sex appeal.
oh, you're a superstar.
And it's never been more evident than in his new ad campaign for Davidoff Cool Water Cologne in a special insert of GQ.
Lost was applauded by all corners of the industry, but specifically, it was really commended for showing that mainstream audiences could
This
be
is
interested in
goofy as
science
fuck.
fiction as long as it was
I'm already
packaged the
sick
right
of
way.
it.
Now, I think when a lot of people hear the word science
Zach.
fiction, they think that automatically Lost doesn't apply to that, but I'm talking about science fiction in its greater, umbrella terminology, also including fantasy under it. It also showed that audiences were interested in following a story with long-running, heavily serialized elements. Lost was really the only science fiction show to premiere on American TV networks in 2004 and break out into the mainstream. There were other science fiction shows at the time that were popular and well acclaimed, like Battlestar Galactica, but there was a perception by mainstream audiences that these kinds of shows were for the big dorks.
I've been browsing, inspecting X-Men comics, I collect them.
But by 2005, shows like Supernatural and the Doctor Who reboot were showing that mainstream audiences were, in fact, interested in these kinds of stories. Pop science fiction.
So this fall, thanks to the success of the various new sci-fi series such as Lost, networks are introducing 6 new genre series of their own in the 2005 season. Fathom on NBC, Invasion on ABC, Night Stalker on ABC, Ghost Whisperer on CBS, Threshold on
I remember
CBS,
Ghost
and
Whisperer.
Supernatural on the WB. In a general sense, these series are closer in style to Lost than they are to Star Trek Enterprise. The movement of televised sci-fi toward the kind of continual character evolution that happens on a number of quality non-genre shows is a big step, and why many critics are calling this a new sci-fi. Stories will be born first and foremost out of character, with the adventure elements in a more subordinate role.
I mean, this was a radically different time in pop culture in terms of both what audiences were interested in and how they interacted with the shows they were interested in.
Tony Stark 2000, by the way, I don't know if you know this, Carlton, but Tony Stark is Iron Man's alter ego.
Oh.
Billionaire Tony Stark has built the Iron Man armor so that he can go out and fight crime. So
can we watch
Tony
anything
Stark
else for the
2000
next
asks,
6 hours?
How many seasons do you have the plot mapped out for? Which is
I don't know,
a
can
question we never get asked.
No, we never get asked that question.
You were considered to be a pretty big nerd if you knew the alter ego for the fringe Marvel character Iron Man, who wouldn't really be the face of any big stories until 2007's Civil War, which really only featured Iron Man probably to promote the new film coming out next year, which Marvel had heavy financial investment in. Then even then, they only used Iron Man because that was one of the only characters they still owned. Things changed quickly in this world, but shows like Lost were making studios reconsider what kind of stories audiences wanted to be told.
The cast was enormous, serialized storytelling. I mean, serialization in itself was sort of verboten in network television. It was a genre show.
So much of Lost's press exclusively had to do with recapping the show and sharing fan theories that the cast and people who write in have. Harry Potter? No, it's Lost, our complete A to Z guide to TV's hottest show. O is for others. L is for Locke. A is for Aaron, the baby. Despite the fact that Disney doesn't own these publications, so much of the coverage was just puff coverage. I love all the headlines of the official Lost magazine, which ran after the end of the first season through the end of the show. What Kate did? It's like, are we even supposed to know? Is it a secret? Like, it's gossip. Story elements of the show are presented like tabloid headlines, and you'd either have to tune into the show or buy a magazine on the newsstand to find out what was up with it. The Lost magazine is so funny because they just had to fish for so much content every single issue, and I really shouldn't be talking. I talked about Lost a whole lot, but like, did they really need to interview the guy who programmed the Lost DVD? Because they do. Any aspects on the DVD set that you're excited about? We spent quite a bit of time designing the menus. Hope everyone will agree that they're cool. But in all actuality, the menus on the Lost DVD are really cool. They're all little scenic moments from the show. So maybe I shouldn't be roasting him that hard. Play the movie. Yeah, play. Apparently, they actually created a UMD for the PSP of the Lost pilot episode. I don't think that ever came out.
Incorrect.
There is such a difference with how they interview celebrities today. With things like Hot Ones and podcasts, you really expect long-form interviews and for these people to be allowed to speak their perspective for a longer period of time than like traditional talk show circuits. Even doing the talk show rounds was very generous for the actors back then. Do you remember Extra on the WB?
Millions of Lost fans are wondering, will Michelle Rodriguez and Matthew Fox hook up?
They don't even let the actors speak. They just show them off.
Do you think that your character's gonna get involved with Matthew Fox?
That would be interesting.
Yeah?
You know, there's a lot of
Or
rumors.
Josh Holloway.
That's the thing, you don't know.
And no matter what the future may have in store for Michelle,
there's such a difference with how celebrities were treated back then, especially with the women of Lost. Here's a magazine previewing season 2 of the show with all of the women from Lost all like posing half naked. And there's John Leguizamo, Sid the Sloth.
Oh, those ladies, they don't stand a chance.
This is like the horniest magazine I've ever seen. Stuff magazine. I hadn't even heard of it. There's ads for horny ringtones. Doesn't anyone love me? Horny ringtones. And penis enhancement drugs.
They do this every year.
And like the chewing tobacco ad in the back. Like the people who wrote this magazine thought very little of their audience.
Ooh, I'd love some.
These days, a lot of guys are wimpy. they're too scared to ask me out.
If you find a mate in life, you should be
Oh, shit,
loyal.
for a minute,
in your
yeah,
case,
we had to-
grateful.
we had to
But
hurry
like
up
the
our pace.
funniest thing about this is they actually have a photo shoot with like Jack's ex-wife Sarah, who's in like 4 episodes of the show. Very early on in the show's run, the actress who plays Kate, Evangeline Lilly, started expressing her discomfort for doing all of the half-nude scenes they had her doing from the very first episode.
I wonder if I got her drunk if she...
I can hear that. You know that, right?
Oh my god. Pretend you were kidding.
No, don't act like you're kidding.
And while I think a lot of people may remember Damon Lindelof and J.J. Abrams apologizing a few years back, I just want to bring to light like the comments that were made by J.J. Abrams when this was brought to his attention. In an Esquire interview, the interviewer explained that he had been told by Evangeline Lilly that she's tired of doing the naked scenes, and all J.J. Abrams had to say was, "It's tough being that beautiful." I will never feel bad for J.J. Abrams receiving any criticism for the new Star Wars movies.
Yes, they're lovely, they're lost, and they're spilling the naked, and I do mean naked truth, on Matthew Fox.
Also, apparently the lead guy, Matthew Fox, had a legitimate reputation for like just getting naked and skinny dipping on the set. Dominic Monaghan revealed he likes to take all his clothes off. And nobody seems to be concerned about this. They all just sort of jokingly ask the female cast members what they thought of it. Evangeline Lilly said, "It's like 5 a.m. Should I be seeing this?"
Help but ask about the latest rumor. Matthew Fox likes to take his clothes off on
How
set.
did this always come up? Yeah. Okay, I'll be honest. I have seen more naked men on this show than I've seen my entire life put together.
Fox 38 makes no apologies for his naked ambitions. "We're shooting in Hawaii," he says with a laugh. "It's conducive for skinny dipping, and I'm totally into people just being cool enough to be naked." Between the talk show rounds and press obsessing over every single little plot detail around the show, it really reminds me of how Disney's media arm now treats the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, the network was always assuming new audience members were coming in, so they were always trying to catch them up on all the interweaving character plots. I talked about Jimmy Kimmel's visit to the set in the last video, but also Ellen did a whole sketch trying to catch people up on Lost.
Joe, Matthew and I are going to bring you up to speed so you can be fans like the rest of us. Enjoy, please, the Ellen DeGeneres Show rendition of Lost.
One thing really notable about Lost back in the day was how diverse its cast was. It was really out of the normal. Obviously in a very good way, but because of that, a lot of the comedy and jokes about the show just kind of went towards pointing this out.
Everyone else is here. Korean woman who really speaks English but pretends not to. Helpful, overweight, good guy with a good sense of humor, even the Hobbit from the Lord of the Rings.
Oh shit! I was not paying
It's
attention.
like acknowledging the
time.
diversity of the show by pointing and screaming at it.
I'm staying on the beach with all the extras who don't get lines to wait for the rescue plane.
Is that the reason? I mean, do you want to make out with the rebel with the rebel dimples again?
Have you ever had a dream that you had?
You just don't have what it takes.
I mean, think about all the new Marvel movies coming out. It's always pairings of two heroes, and they always got to catch you up on all of their, backstory on Disney Plus and in magazines and whatnot. That way you can appreciate how the story is laid out in case you forget it or have never seen it. I mean, Lost clip shows were abundant, specifically during the second season, which had a really sporadic airing schedule, because the conversation went beyond the fan base of the show. It infiltrated pop culture. It was constantly being referenced. People knew that Lost was confusing even if they hadn't seen Lost. I mean, the recap episode reminded audiences that Ana Lucia was in the finale of season 1, so if they were just jumping into season 2 like the ratings suggest happened, they would appreciate the fact that she was introduced earlier rather than just a new casting decision as the new season started. These would also help to highlight thematic ties between all of the episodic episodes, so people could appreciate the themes of the show without making 10 10
I
hours
am
of YouTube
out of
content about it,
time.
and now you can. I mean, many of these flashback storylines have serialized elements that take only 3 or 4 episodes to convey,
Damn,
but last
there we go.
multiple seasons.
That looks
a lot of the
alright.
articles also featured a lot of speculation as to what the greater nature of the island and the show was about, as well as just wild out there theories.
All right.
You know what's
What do
supposed to
we-
be going on the
whoa.
island. Have you worked
I
it
like
out yet?
these two.
Whether it's are you in hell? Are you in purgatory? Is it all a terrible dream, collective dream? Is it
Or an
Why
experiment?
is
or an experiment by the government, by the American government, or are you?
Oh
on a
my
reality
god,
TV
what the
show?
fuck?
Have you
Wait,
worked
can I be
If they
a
stop putting the code in the computer,
Oh my
it will.
God.
Each one of these has a question
It
mark
just
after
says
it.
first
Create an
step.
ice age, have the world blow up.
Incredible.
Nothing happens. The world's taken over by polar bears. I've heard many times that the island is in the Pacific Ocean,
Very
which
cool.
kind of makes sense. But despite this, I have a theory that the island is Atlantis. On the other side of the world from where Atlantis should have been. This issue